Right now, somewhere in your body, an alarm might be going off. You probably won't notice it. It doesn't feel like a fire alarm. It feels quieter than that. It feels like scrolling through your phone at 11 at night, waiting for someone to text back. It feels like sitting in a room full of people and still feeling completely unseen. You call this loneliness, but the real answer is far stranger. Loneliness isn't an emotion your brain invented by accident. It's a warning system, and it's been running, uninterrupted, for over 1,000,000 years. Think about hunger for a second. Hunger doesn't feel pleasant. It's not supposed to. It exists to make you do something. It pushes you toward food before your body actually starves. Thirst works the same way. Pain works the same way. Your body has spent millions of years building alarms that go off before the real damage happens. So here's the question almost nobody asks. What if loneliness is one of those alarms? Not a mood, not a personality trait, a survival signal. To understand why, you have to go back. Not centuries, hundreds of thousands of years. Long before agriculture, before cities, before anything resembling modern life, your ancestors lived in small, tightly bonded groups, usually somewhere between 20 and 50 people. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone depended on everyone. And here's the part that matters. A human being alone on the savannah wasn't just sad. They were prey. No claws, no armor, no real speed, just a group, and the safety that group provided. Being cast out of that group wasn't a social inconvenience, it was often a death sentence. So evolution did what it always does. It built a feeling ugly enough that you'd avoid the situation that caused it. That feeling is loneliness. The neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent decades studying exactly this. Cacioppo, who ran the Center for Cognitive and Social Neuroscience at the University of Chicago, argued that loneliness functions almost identically to physical pain. Not metaphorically, functionally. Your brain treats social disconnection the way it treats a wound. It flags it as urgent. It demands your attention. It refuses to let you settle back into comfort until the threat is addressed. Does that sound dramatic? Sit with it for a second. Cacioppo's research found that chronically lonely people show elevated cortisol levels. Their bodies stay in a subtle, prolonged state of alert. Sleep gets lighter and more fragmented. The immune system, strangely, starts behaving more like it's preparing for physical injury than emotional distress. Your body doesn't know the difference between "I might get hurt" and "I might get abandoned." To your nervous system, ancient and modern, isolation and danger are the same category of problem. This is where it gets stranger. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Harry Harlow ran a series of experiments with infant rhesus monkeys. He separated them from their mothers and gave them two artificial substitutes. One was made of bare wire but dispensed milk. The other was covered in soft cloth but offered no food at all. Logic says the babies should have clung to the one that fed them. They didn't. They spent almost all their time on the cloth mother. They only left it, briefly, out of hunger, then rushed straight back. What Harlow uncovered wasn't really about monkeys. It was about a hierarchy hardwired into mammals long before humans existed. Connection isn't a bonus feature layered on top of survival. In many cases, it outranks food. It outranks comfort. In the most extreme deprivation studies, isolated infant monkeys developed severe, lasting psychological damage, even when every physical need was met. You are not a rhesus monkey, but you carry the same ancient architecture in your nervous system. That's not an insult. It's biology. Fast forward now, past the savannah, past the wire mothers, into the present, into a world your ancestors would not recognize at all. Skyscrapers instead of open plains, screens instead of firelight. And yet, somehow, loneliness hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, it's louder than ever. Here's the twist most people never expect. You can be lonely in a crowd. You can be lonely in a marriage. You can be lonely with 1,200 online friends and a notification badge that never stops climbing. Modern loneliness doesn't require physical isolation anymore. It only requires a mismatch. A gap between the depth of connection your nervous system expects and the depth it's actually getting. Psychologist Julianne Holt-Lunstad at Brigham Young University led a massive analysis pulling together data from more than 300,000 participants. Her findings were blunt. Chronic loneliness was associated with a mortality risk comparable to smoking roughly 15 cigarettes a day. Not stress, not sadness, an early warning biological signal tied to measurable physical outcomes. Read that again. Loneliness statistically can be more dangerous than obesity, more dangerous than air pollution. Why would an emotion carry that kind of weight? Because it was never just an emotion, it was infrastructure. A system built to keep a fragile, clawless primate tethered to the group that kept it alive. So what happens when the alarm keeps ringing and nobody answers it? In the ancestral environment, loneliness had an obvious fix. You returned to the group. You mended the relationship, rejoined the fire, sat back inside the circle of people who would notice if you went missing. The alarm did its job, then switched off. But modern life is full of situations where the alarm rings and there's no clear way to silence it. You can't just walk over to a village and rejoin it. Relationships today are more spread out, more mediated by screens, more fragile in ways your evolutionary blueprint never accounted for. This is where the mismatch becomes dangerous. A signal meant to trigger short bursts of urgency, followed by resolution, instead runs for months, sometimes years. Cortisol that was meant to spike briefly stays elevated. Inflammation that was meant to prepare you for a wound in case a predator or rival group ever did attack lingers with nothing to heal. Your body keeps preparing for a battle that never arrives. And here's the part that reframes everything. The problem was never that you feel lonely. The problem is what happens when that feeling gets ignored, medicated, scrolled past, or numbed instead of addressed. Loneliness isn't a flaw in your character. It's not proof that something is wrong with you. It's a message, an old one, encoded before language existed, before cities existed, before you existed. And it's saying the same thing it always has. You are built for other people, not casually, not optionally, structurally. Every doom scroll at midnight, every group chat left on read, every crowded room that still feels empty is your nervous system running the same ancient calculation it ran on the savannah. Am I safe? Am I seen? Does anyone know if I disappeared? None of this means technology is the enemy or that solitude is inherently harmful. Solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. One is chosen, the other is a siren. The difference is whether the connection you actually need is present or missing. So the next time that quiet ache shows up, the one that doesn't announce itself loudly, consider not silencing it. Consider what it might actually be trying to tell you. Not that you're broken, not that you're too much or not enough, just that somewhere in a body built across 1,000,000 years of shared fires and shared survival, an old and patient alarm has noticed something worth paying attention to. Right now, somewhere in your body, an alarm might be going off. And for the first time, maybe you understand exactly what it's for.